Tonight, disturbing new details about how the communist Chinese, through a group of cyber hackers, have penetrated deeply into critical American infrastructure, from our water systems to sensitive government communications to our electrical grid, and yeah, even our military. We're talking incursions that are far more extensive than previously thought. Now, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that these aggressive moves by China cyber thugs started as early as 2019. Investigators found the hackers lurked sometimes for years, periodically testing access at a regional airport. Investigators found the hackers had secured access and then returned every 6 months to make sure they could still get in. Oh, good. Hackers spent at least 9 months in the network of a water treatment system, moving into an adjacent server to study the operations of the plant. At a utility in LA, the hackers searched for material about how the utility would respond in the event of an emergency or a crisis. Another hacking group known as Salt Typhoon burrowed into the U.S. wireless networks to get data from more than 1 million people. They even obtained audio from senior government officials, including some calls with Trump.
There have been reports that Chinese government hackers have breached a really sensitive office within the U.S. Treasury. OFAC, of course, administers economic sanctions. What more can you tell us about the scope of this and what information has been compromised?
So what I can say is the president was briefed on this. We are closely tracking the incident. We're working to identify actions to mitigate the future risks to U.S. government networks.
Oh, we're tracking it, are we? As usual, how reassuring Biden is monitoring the situation. Joining me now is Christian Whiten, former State Department senior advisor. Christian, all right, what is China laying the groundwork for here? Water supply, electrical grid, now even consumer cellular information, government comms?
Right, Laura. Well, this is very clearly a digital fifth column that China is preparing to use if there's ever a crisis or war with the United States, if China makes a move on Taiwan and the Philippines, especially with the Philippines, a treaty ally. If we move to make a defense, then all of a sudden, you turn on your faucet and nothing comes out, or the lights go out, your phones don't work, there's critical infrastructure. This is nothing new as far as capability. The Israelis have used this against the Iranians. Once they turned off gas pumps in Tehran, another time they made sure everyone had left the plant, but then caused a fire at a steel mill. The question is, why is China being permitted to sort of do this against us, and why it's gained this credibility? Because the penetration really is very deep here.
Well, I think what's new is the fact that our infrastructure, despite our spending billions and billions of dollars and trillions on our security apparatus and our military, is this vulnerable. And the Wall Street Journal is also reporting, by the way, Christian, that some national security officials involved in the investigation said they believe the telecom hack is so severe and the network so compromised that the U.S. may never be able to say with certainty that the Chinese hackers have been fully rooted out. So again, everybody spies on everybody, Christian, but this is a level of espionage that seems very, very concerning, given what's at stake with the size of their standing army and Taiwan in particular.
Right, and it's ironic or just angering that those same national security officials are some of the ones that are partly responsible, not just through sins of omission, being asleep at the wheel, focusing all of our defense forces on Ukraine, where I would argue there are no vital U.S. national interests, and neglecting the China threat. But it was actually the FBI itself, including the highly politicized imbecile Christopher Wray, who is on his way out, thankfully, to be replaced by Kash Patel, who was against encryption all along, who actually insisted that these telecom companies, Cisco was involved, Verizon is involved, AT&T involved, insisted that they have back doors so that law enforcement can conduct surveillance on the communications of Americans. And that's what the Chinese used to break into this.
Yeah, the back door for the law enforcement and for the Chinese. And by the way, this also happened when China had cut the underground cable, a key underground cable that Taiwan needs for consistent internet access. And they were able to kind of cobble it together afterward and reestablish connectivity. But it's kind of a message, don't you think, about the vulnerability of Taiwan. At the same time, our own communications networks are being penetrated.
Yes, Taiwan, 98% of internet traffic moves on those cables. They need to shift to satellite internet. They don't actually trust SpaceX or Elon Musk because he has such significant factories in mainland China. They've looked at Amazon's property. Really what they need is their own bespoke system, which you can get for much cheaper nowadays. But yeah, the same is true across the Pacific, that our communications, our ability to see, this is what China plans to do. It tends to blind us early in a conflict, cut off our ability to see things, and then it can act in its own near abroad.
This is why the Space Force and our space superiority is absolutely critical, and Musk is all over that as well. Christian, as always, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.